Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to begin by echoing Ranking Member Whitehouse's remarks regarding the illegal firing of Commissioner Chris Hansen. The firing was without cause and contrary to existing law and longstanding precedent regarding the removal of independent agency appointees. As I mentioned during a previous committee hearing, Mr. Hansen was an exceptional public servant. And this action is yet another example of this administration's overreach and example of how they threatened the very independence of the NRC. So the fact that the nomination we're considering today is only open due to this unlawful firing taints the entire process. Now, that being said, let me raise a couple of key questions. I remain deeply concerned, first of all, about the continued presence of DOGE at NRC. Also, as Ranking Member Whitehouse has referenced, their presence at the NRC threatens the very autonomy and subject matter expertise that we rely on to ensure nuclear safety and maintaining the trust of the American people. I asked this of current NRC commissioners during last month's NRC's oversight hearing. I want to ask it again today. Ms. Journey, if confirmed, do you commit to ensuring that any DOGE staffers, even if they are labeled as, quote, DOE detailees, do not dictate policy to NRC staff or have veto power over NRC staff? Yes or no?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Now, do you support the separation of nuclear safety and nuclear promotion responsibilities between NRC and the DOE? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Do you agree that the NRC staff have unique and critical expertise necessary to license new reactors as compared to the expertise at DOE or the DOD? Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good answers. I also now want to move on to another topic. Now, nearly 40% of Americans live within 3 miles of high-risk chemical facilities and are at an increased risk as a result of cancers, respiratory illnesses, and other preventable illnesses from exposure to toxic chemicals. Now, despite TSCA's mandate to evaluate risks to groups with greater exposure or susceptibility than the general population, the EPA recently proposed a rule to no longer include what was referenced as overburdened communities from the regulatory addition of, quote, potentially exposed or susceptible subpopulations, end quote. Now, this rollback is in addition to other changes that would overlook increased risks to fence line communities, such as allowing the EPA to narrow the scope of uses and exposure pathways evaluated and make use by use rather than whole chemical determinations. Question for you, Mr. Troutman. Do you agree that there are communities that face disproportionate health risks because of proximity to chemical facilities?
Senator, I appreciate the question, and the rule which I believe you're referring to is the proposed risk evaluation rule, which was noticed for comment just a short time ago. And as you know, Senator, that rule has been proposed in various iterations in 2017, 2024, now again in 2025. And based on the briefings I've had and the notice that is out, there will be further comment on all aspects of the amendments with regard to what has been proposed in the Federal Register, and we will take a very close look on where there is actual risk and looking at real-world conditions. So we expect to review those comments in a timely manner.
I'm aware of the background, appreciate the additional context. I think my question is pretty straightforward. Do you agree or disagree that there are certain populations with disproportionate risk based on disproportionate exposure, yes or no?
Senator, where the statute that's been enacted by Congress instructs with regard to those risks, we will follow the statute and the authorization.
Do you believe there are certain communities with disproportionate exposure and therefore risk or not?
Senator, where the statute indicates those.
Okay, I'm disappointed because it's a pretty straightforward question. Geographic proximity is easy to understand. The data is absolutely there. And so my follow-up question, if that was more of a common sense response to my first, was if these considerations are being taken away, is there any new framework that you would have in mind to evaluate or address these increased risks? Or would you simply leave fence line communities to their fate by declining to take any action to properly protect them?
Senator, I appreciate the question. And without prejudging an outcome, but I'd like to see where the comments come in on this rule and consult with the subject matter experts and understand where changes need to be made.
Thank you, Madam Chair.